About 4 months of hard work has finally paid off. Welcome everyone to Sonora Spring Zoo. This is one of my favorite projects I've ever done in Planet Zoo. It's my first real desert build that I've been able to finish, and I've worked with so many awesome other creators to really put it together. And I'm just super excited that you guys are able to finally tour this finished project. Check out the workshop link down below, and let's get started with the tour. Well, welcome to the tour, everyone. Hope you guys are all having the most wonderful of wonderful days. My name is Leaf, and it's so great to have you guys join us for what is probably one of my favorite zoos I've ever done so far. I think it honestly beats out Boggy Bottom. Welcome to Sonora Spring Zoo. This is essentially our Grasslands pack zoo. I was kind of like looking for a fun idea to make for the Grasslands animal pack. And I thought it'd be really fun to do a somewhat realistic zoo. Obviously, there's a few things in here that aren't really like, the optimal realism. But we have a lot of stuff in here to cover, so we'll go through it. We'll talk about it as it comes up. But of course, with any zoo, you have to come over here and get your ticket. Now, all this stuff you'll see in the entrance is more or less done by my good friend Remnant. He is in 2 episodes ago, I want to say. So you guys can actually check out, hearing him and, his thought process from everything he made in here. But you can come over here, get your little pamphlet. I never realized how adorable these are. Frontier, if you're listening, I would love to get, every little single shot piece as a placeable item. I feel like that'd be a really fun thing to have. But you get your little ticket over here, and then you make your way into this beautiful entrance. So I was telling Remnant the original idea I wanted for the entrance was very much like the Living Desert Zoo in, I want to say Palm Springs, California. I think that sounds about right. But he did such a beautiful job at really capturing what makes that entrance so stand out. And it's just incredible. This is all a custom sign over here too. I actually kind of modeled this off of the Balboa font set from the Safari Pack. So if I find San Leone Zoo, this is Nick's little personal project. Let me just find the proper sign for it. I don't know where it is. Here it is. So you could see that I kind of modeled off of the text on this one. And it's all using in-game pieces. You can kind of see that with the font pieces right there. But it looks so incredible. I just really do love that kind of font. It's based off of the San Diego font, so I don't know, it's just very tongue-in-cheek right there. But you finally make your way in over here. So this is honestly one of my favorite areas of the zoo because it's so open. There's a few things that changed over here, and we'll check out the gift shop on our way out. But without further ado, let's kind of get working into here. So I did throw down a little bit of a Starbucks over there in case if you guys are OG members and you remember our Zoo Heist series. That was essentially where I kind of went into a whole bunch of different things on the workshop and started to piece apart builds and find some cool stuff. We'll talk about that when we get there. But our first habitat is for the red-necked wallaby, otherwise known as a Bennett's wallaby. This was a really fun habitat to have at the front because a lot of zoos tend to have their marsupials out front. A lot of the times when you are talking about zoo planning, zoo design, zoo exhibitry, a lot of the times you will want to have animals that are a lot more kinetic, and that essentially means they move around a lot and they have some interesting movements. I just went to Southwick Zoo over in Mendon, Massachusetts, I want to say, and they have their wallabies and kangaroos right out front. It's a really fun entrance animal because you get to watch them all hop around. Usually you can always piece down if a zoo entrance is more so leaning on towards the activity of the animal or the sound of the animal, and we'll see that with our other animals kind of over on that side. But we're going to continue this in kind of the way that we kind of built everything. So of course we have the little coffee shop in here. Let's actually stop in for a coffee. I think we need a little caffeine hit before we can actually get going. So I do have a little keeper, not the keeper stands, but the kind of store stands, I guess. I have a little Bernie's Bakes over here. They are so cute. Look at that stuff. I don't even think I have any of these animals in here except for the zebra and the lion too, I guess. And we also have the coffee roasting over here, so we can just grab that right there. Big shout out to Christina, Ricey, I want to say Zekin and Haribo for like all these little motifs in here. Again, you guys can check out like the Zoo Heist series that kind of went into detail about like, you know, stealing all these pieces, quote unquote. I don't really mean it to be stealing. I have all the credits on that little credit wall. Hopefully you guys can see it like from right over here. Yep, so these are all the awesome people who have like helped out in some way or another, whether it's by using some of their blueprints, whether it's by using some of their mods, whether it's by using just like their general support. They're right over there. But you can see we can kind of continue on. These signs are by Lion. He did a really incredible job with creating these little countries that help indicate where everything goes, kind of. And like even these signs that kind of point the direction. So let's continue on over here to our next animal. This is the meerkat. Now these guys kind of like to congregate in the middle of the exhibit. I really don't know why, but it's kind of funny just to be able to see them just standing there. I know I talk about like kinetic animals. Meerkats are usually like that, but I guess ours are just kind of boring. I don't know what's going on with them. And of course, we have these little glass domes that you could actually pop under here and check out the meerkats from. I would honestly say that this would just be for kids because it does get a little cramped in here. But it does give you some pretty cool looks into the habitat itself. I really do like the mix of these rocks. A lot of the times when you are looking through this zoo, you'll see that I'm using a whole lot of the stalactite rocks. And I'm also using stuff like the temple pieces from the South America pack. I feel like those have like a really cool rock texture in there that a lot of people used for faux rocks before we even had the aquatic pack rocks. A little bit of a throwback right there, but they fit the bill so well in here. So we can kind of continue on our way. I love these fences, by the way. I made these before the pack even came out. They're just such a nice little vibe in here. I really do love how, like, not ornate, but, like, how tightly wound, I guess, the actual mesh is in there. I think that looks super awesome. Our first animal, of course, over here in this little canyon area is the caracal. So I have two caracals in here. I have a melanistic one because, of course, I wanted to have that guy in there. I feel like that would be a really fun animal to throw in. And then we'll check out the other view on the other side. But before we can actually get even further, I do have the dung beetles in here. So you can see they're kind of rolling around their stuff right there. I love these guys so much. Hold on, let me speed up time a little bit so we can see them do their little dance. God, the animations on the exhibit animals are just so top-notch. It's really awesome just to be able to see these guys like that. Of course, I don't really like to use exhibit animals all too much. I do find their entire system very clunky. But you can do some really awesome ways with kind of disguise that with like pushing half of it into a wall or something. I think that's kind of cool. Having like these little custom sunshades as well throughout here, because we are in the desert. We are in like Eastern California, so it would get kind of hot, but I wanted to make sure that our guests would be able to stay shaded as much as possible throughout here. So you can see we have both of our caracals in here. They have a lot of climbing in here, and I wanted it to be relatively long, but relatively like not too tall, because I really wanted to sell the vibe that we're in like this canyon cliff. We're in like this very tight space, but still give these animals enough like room to explore and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for those guys right there. Another one of lion signs right there. Keep in mind some of this stuff might change by the time that I upload it to the workshop. There is still a few things I want to make sure that are like perfect, but I did just want to record this because I had some free time today. I felt like it'd be kind of fun. Now, of course, another animal that we got in the Grasslands animal pack is the 9-banded armadillo, just a really solid animal in here. So I give them about 2 different areas of their habitat. You'll see that come into place. Just Goron made this really awesome mining area sign. I love that so much. I believe that's from the Bexibergen. But you can see that they have all this area in here, both kind of like a quote-unquote indoor area, as well as their little outdoor area. They have their little burrow they can use. Just a really solid habitat for a really solid animal. I love these guys. I really wish all of these animals were a lot more active. I don't know. I feel like they're being kind of boring right now. Moving on over here, we do have this little snake den. So this is kind of modeled after, a little bit inspired off of the Roger Williams Park Zoo. We have a little snake house, and in here I believe we have the diamondback rattlesnake. Yep, western diamondback rattlesnake. So you can see that these guys have this whole habitat in here. I think we do have an albino somewhere, but I don't know where it went. Maybe when you guys load in, you can kind of take a picture of the albino, but right now I only see one, so that's a little bit of a shame. Still a really fun exhibit in here. I really do love how well, like, the wood works in here. It's just so awesome. Like, the Twilight Pack is so good for that stuff. And I believe the roof is also the Arctic Pack wood. Yep, I believe so. And it's just a really solid piece right there. Really awesome stuff. As we kind of make our way throughout here as well, we can see that I have this little Mexican area. So I kind of did mix it up with, like, the armadillo kind of goes hand in hand with the diamondback rattlesnake and the axolotl, or otherwise pronounced ocelot. I believe that's how you're supposed to pronounce it in, like, the native tongue, but I could be wrong. I think it's more like ocelot. But anyways, we have them in here. Really cool little guys. If we could actually see them. I don't know where they all went. Do we even... Yeah, we have like 12 in here. Maybe they're all kind of like hiding back there. Hold on. Okay. I'm just gonna go into this version of the camera. Why not? But I promise you guys, they are in here. I just don't know where. There's one. Yeah, again, this is like what I'm saying about the exhibit animals. They're just so tiny. And it's like, come on. Like, so tiny compared to their box. Like, it took us... We have 12 in here, and we can only see one right off the bat. And it's kind of like, well, what are we doing with all that space? There's another one right there. I don't know if you guys can kind of see that through the water, but he's a little bit darker right there. Making our way throughout here as well, we have our lovely little striped hyena exhibit. I love this one. So I wanted to give these guys a whole big habitat because they really are one of my favorite animals in this pack. And they just have this lovely large area for them to all chill out in. I'm using a little bit of a different zoo technique over here. I'm doing kind of like a dry moat. Hyenas really aren't the best climbers. They probably can, but this is probably implied to have like hot wire on this section just to be safe. But they have all this long area for them to kind of troll around in, I guess. Really, really beautiful animals. I'm super happy about them. There is a hyena remaster out there right now, but I don't have it installed right now. Checking this out over here too. I believe this is a puff adder. Yes, it is. So again, keeping in line with like the rest of the mini themes that we have in here, we don't really have too many sections, quote unquote, but we do have like little mini motifs. So this would kind of be like Africa over here. So I do have a whole bunch of stuff up here as well. I have a few barrels. I have some crates in there, kind of like a little storage area. Because again, we don't need all of that 4x4 space for these little animals. They don't even want all that space. So it's cool just to be able to work with your exhibits, kind of like that. I don't know, I really do like that. Of course, as we make our way throughout here, I have some like big palm trees. I believe these are by Remnant. I could be wrong. But all the blueprints I did use are on that little front little dedication board. Now, we have our friend over here who already wants to say hi, say hello. I believe these are all Dabra tortoises, yep, and that kind of keeps in line with the kind of African area that we have throughout here as well. So this is just a small habitat for these guys. It's nothing crazy. It's honestly a good size for Aldabra tortoises. And I'm using a whole bunch of different zoo techniques in here as well, again. So tortoises really can't break out of these little habitats. It's kind of based off of rhino holdings. So I have these individual sticks that are kind of like stuck into the ground. And the tortoises wouldn't be able to knock them over. They'd probably be implied to be cemented in the ground. So I kind of have that stuff going on right there. But I love this habitat. It's honestly one of like the smallest ones. But it just makes me so happy because of like, if you get it at the right angle, like right over here, it looks so gorgeous. I love that little shot right there. And of course, you have your little keeper door right there so that they can actually access that. And you make your way all over here. We're going to get into the little Australia area in a bit, but before we do, we could check out the Night House. I love this sign. I believe that font is by Christina. So we kind of make our way into the Night House right here. And if I could actually turn off the lights, I do think I want to do a little bit more work in here because I'm not super satisfied with it so far. I think I just want to add a few signs over here, just kind of dress it up a bit more. But this is for our aardvarks and it's for our fennec foxes. So it's just a relatively sparse desert house, like a desert night house. But I thought it was super fun just to be able to put this together. They seem to really do like their habitat. And they have plenty of room in here as well. It's very much based off of the Bronx Zoo, Capron Park Zoo, and all that stuff where, like, I don't know, zoos I've been to recently that really stick out in my mind. So you can see that our aardvarks are chilling right over there. They do like their privacy, so I wanted to make sure that, like, the habitat, you can see most of it, but there's some areas where, like, you know, the aardvarks can get out of the line of sight from the rest of the people because they're relatively shy animals. I don't know. I just think they're kind of cool like that. Putting the time back today because I don't want to be here at night. It's scary. They probably have, like, wendigos or something out here. But we have this little Australian area. You can see that we have our common wombats. Really do love this habitat. I think this one is actually my favorite. We'll check that out in a bit. But I do have these little storage containers. I believe I've retrofitted these from the workshop. But I kind of made these into little terrariums. So I think in here it should be, yep, the blue-tongued skink. I'm not really sure where all of them are. There's one in the corner right there. That seems about right. I have a few different, like, things in here. But should I turn on some of those? Sure, fine, whatever. And I believe over here is one of the snakes, so that should be the common death adder. Yep, there we go. So just a couple of Australian reptiles in there, just your common ones. But yeah, this is my little common wombat habitat. It's so adorable. So you have this little place where you can kind of get nose to nose with the wombats. If you're, like, kid level, you'll probably be, like, down here, so you could get, like, a really awesome view. But I have the little eucalyptus tree feeders in here for, like, actual tree purposes. I don't know, I just really do love how small these are. I wish we had the same tree, but without the feeder on it, because they're just such awesome, useful trees. You'll notice I have a few of those trees kind of, like, scattered throughout, like, the background of the builds. Like, right here is one. And it's just a really awesome tree to throw in the back if you need a little bit of, like, mid to medium level tree coverage. But you can see we have our little wombats in here. I throw an albino in here just because I felt like that'd be a really fun way to, I don't know, bring a little bit more interest to here. I did want to have, like, as many animal morphs as possible in this zoo because I really do love them. I feel like they're super underappreciated, so I just threw a few of those guys in there. But it's just a really solid habitat. Oh my gosh, I love this one so much. Then we start to make our way to the Bold world of butterflies. It's named after my friend Bold because she was so generous enough to help us out with, like, a few things for the butterfly house over there. But this was actually recently redone by Zoove. Zoove, Z-O-O-V-E, not Z-O-O-F, is a really cool Planet Zoo creator. He does a lot of, like, architecture and stuff. Gardening. He's worked with Mike Sheets, and I think he's working with Rudy right now, but he did this beautiful, beautiful native plant garden in here. And I do want to walk where the butterflies actually are because that's, like, the coolest part. But he did all this lovely grass work in here. Not grass work, but plant work. And yeah, our butterflies kind of just float naturally. You can see them all throughout here. Only monarchs on the outside. On the indoors, we actually do have, like, exotic ones. But I did want to have monarchs in here because ideally the zoo would be situated during, like, the migration, in, like, the migration pattern of the monarch butterfly. So we have a few of those things going on throughout here, and I think we also have some over here. But he did this beautiful bridge up here. It's one of my favorites, so it's just really awesome to be able to look up at that. And you get some pretty good views from up there too. Let's actually, I'm doing a little bit of a sneak over here because I don't want to walk through all of the garden, but you get this really, really awesome view over, like, the entire zoo over here. And it's just so beautiful just to be able to take this all in. I feel like this would be one of my favorite parts of the zoo if it were real, because you get to see so much. And you can even see, like, our giraffes right all throughout there. Really awesome stuff. Keep in mind, I didn't really decorate the outside of this, but let's just pretend it's all blank desert and stuff. So as we kind of make our way down here, I'm just going to pop up and pop right back down. I love the Explorer mode. You know what I have installed is Kai's, wait, did I uninstall it? I think I uninstalled it. But it was Kai's first person mode, which basically allowed you to jump. I miss that stuff. I wish we could jump in free look or something. I feel like that'd be awesome. But you can see we have all of our exotics in here. So we do have the blue morphos and the European peacocks, cloudless sulfurs, all of those guys. Really awesome stuff. And you can see we have our little chrysalis hatching right in here. Really awesome stuff just to be able to see like all these guys. I really do love what Bolt did over here, using like those terracotta pieces to make like little chrysalises. I thought that was super adorable. And you can see there's so much room in here just to kind of like chill out in. He even included like a little sprinkler up there that just has this beautiful effect in here. I don't know, that's really awesome. I feel like that guy wouldn't be able to fly after he flew through that, but it's so cool. Even like these small little, I don't know what you call those, little markers for all the plants in here. Really, really awesome touch right there. And he even included like a little bit of a waterfall in here for little ducks and stuff. I think that's super adorable too. Really love to see that. So we kind of continue our way throughout here. And I believe I'm not really skipping anything. Yeah, I'm not skipping anything. So we can kind of continue on this way. Sorry about popping out into like the overlook view so much. I just really wanted to make sure we're not skipping anything because, yeah. So you can see we have our African lion habitat in here. This is just such a funky habitat that I'm so happy worked out so well. So you can see we have a little bit of predator-prey going on over here, and essentially what you guys, if you're unfamiliar with the concept, you have a predator habitat up close or far back, or vice versa, with herbivores up front or predators back there. And it creates this kind of seamless illusion where it looks like they're in the same habitat just by using like hills and terrain and stuff. It's so awesome. I don't know, I love that. So you can see the lion's kind of like making its way right over here. And you can see the giraffes right back there. I love that stuff. But this is just a relatively basic habitat for the lions. I think a lot more of the detail kind of comes out in the actual guest area. So I had this kind of be like a servo station, kind of like a pump station in the middle of Africa or something. So you can see I have this kind of like defunct sign right here. I have these little custom gas pumps over here that I made completely custom. I was super proud of that. I don't know, they turned out super awesome. But over here, you get the very nice and up-close view to the lions. And you can see that there's so many different, like, elevations and stuff happening in here. You have, like, these little hills. You have these little divots over here. And it's just so awesome. Oh, my gosh. And again, you can see that predator-prey coming in very clutch over here with, like, the giraffe right there. Because it looks like it's in the same habitat. It's so cool just to be able to see that. But yeah, these guys have their little holding back there. They have all their climb-proof fence and stuff. Just really awesome stuff. I don't know. This was such a fun habitat to put together. This is when I like kind of really hit my stride with Sonora Springs. It was so fun just to be able to put that together. And we have our lemur islands in here. You'll be seeing them as we kind of make our way across that little pond. But over here we can see the next Grasslands animal pack animal, the blue wildebeest. So these guys share a habitat with our reticulated giraffes and our plain zebras. Just a really solid habitat right over here. And you do have like little giraffe feedings over there. If a guest wants to like, you know, pay for that extra experience, you would be able to go into like the holding area and see what's happening in there. But it's just a really solid habitat. I love all the vistas that you got in here. You can see our blue wildebeest is kind of making his way right over there. Really awesome stuff. But just the angles in here are so cool. This is also something I'm very proud of. So this is something that we have over at Franklin Park Zoo. This is like just our little giraffe height chart. So I actually went into the habitat and started to individually make note of how big each giraffe is. So that's kind of how each big, like, every individual giraffe is in this habitat. I thought that was super cute just to be able to put together. I don't know. It's really adorable. Another few views of the lemur habitats in here. Just nothing too crazy. It's just a couple of custom climbing frames. The keepers would be able to reach out to the habitats by... there should be a little bit of, like, something down here. I guess there isn't. Okay, they'd come out on boat. Yeah, that's my official retcon of that. But, yeah, just some really awesome solid vistas. We only have black and white ruffed and ring-tailed lemurs, but I think those are probably two of my favorite lemurs to begin with in there, so it's just really fun. Over here, we do have the Maine wolves and the giant anteaters. Really solid mix over here. It's one of my favorites to be able to see at zoos. We were almost about to get them at Roger Williams, but our Maine wolf deal, I guess it kind of fell through. But it's just a really solid habitat with like a whole bunch of like this custom rockwork walls, like these stone walls that I kind of continue on the outside of the habitat too. This is always something I always recommend you guys to try, is continue theming from the inside of the habitat to the outside and vice versa, because it always does create like a much more solid look when everything is all said and done. But all of our animals should be in here. You can see that the giant anteater is kind of making his way throughout there. I love that. They look so awesome. Really one of my favorite animals to begin with. Just really, really funky little dude. And we also have another moat area over here. Maine wolves are relatively harmless to people, but it's always good just to be able to make sure that, you know, you keep them separate from people, because you don't want like any serious injury to happen. They are canines after all, and they are wild animals. I think what's really most dangerous in here would be the giant anteater. They could really mess you up. But these guys are just chilling in here. It's just really awesome. I love this look into the habitat, because you get like this really solid like elevation change in here with like all the beautiful plant work in here. Really solid stuff. It makes me super happy to be able to see that. Making our way over here too, we have this little bit of a sloped terrace garden. Really awesome stuff in here. I just really wanted to try my hand at gardening. I know that this picture got a lot of really good reception on Instagram, which go check out my Instagram. It's super awesome, guys. I usually post like little sneak peeks and stuff in there. But yeah, it's just a really solid area over here. And we see our prairie dogs in here too. I always love prairie dog exhibits because you can be as cheesy as you want with them. And it's just super fun just to be able to put them together. But where are all of them? I swear I had more in here. But they're mostly at the top of that exhibit right here. We could kind of pop up to this section. And you can see we got some really solid vistas over here just checking out all of our animals. But this is just a really solid habitat, just a lot of enrichment for these guys and a lot of holes for them to bury into. I wanted to have like the little guest bubbles, but it really didn't work out too well. But it's fine. Honestly, I think it's a lot better without them. I feel like that would have just made the habitat a lot more clunky. And you would miss out on like so many of these awesome vistas. And like, I love that little shed, I guess that is. I really love the little details that we throw into this zoo. And over here, we have a little bit of a staff access to the night house as well, so you can see that they can kind of access it through there. Now, this is probably the best part of Sonora Springs because Remnant made it. We have our African penguin habitat. This is such a gorgeous piece of art, and this is literally art what he did. So we have all the penguins in here. We got so many different views. It's very much based off of, from what he said, kind of like the Cape Town beaches. And it's just so, so beautiful. One of my favorite techniques in here that Remnant did was actually using the free build to create this gravel beach in here. I love when I see people who like kind of make that stuff. It turns out so awesome. But we have a few different views in here, and I do want to show off. I did dedicate this to Twin Palms. Because I was like, listen, just feel free to throw in the dedication, but Remnant was too humble to do that. So this is sponsored by Twin Palms, so go check out their channels, just check out their series. They've done some incredible work for me, and it's just so awesome just to be able to see like their project come together. But before you do that, let's finish up the tour. We have a few more things to check out. So I just love these views into this habitat, like especially the rocky bottom in there. It's just so awesome just to be able to see that. This brings you more or less eye to eye with the penguins. And it's just a really, really awesome view, especially when you're looking up at the cliff face. One of my favorite things I did, and I'm not sure if this was intentional, but it feels like it kind of curves up. So it really helps you feel like you're encapsulated inside this little bit of like this crevice, inside this little cliff face. Really awesome stuff. And he continued on like this beautiful rock work over here that I kind of worked on. And he also juxtaposed it with the white rocks over there. It looks so solid. I don't know, I love that stuff. But you have this little underwater viewing in here as well. It's just a really solid view. Unfortunately, our penguins aren't diving right now. Super sad to see. But it's just really awesome to be able to see them just even use their exhibit to begin with. But that is really it, guys. Guys, this zoo is finished. I really can't believe it. It's been such a fun project that, I don't know, it was just really fun to put together. And it's really fun just to be able to have two incredibly talented people come in here and work on it. Here's our little gift shop. Big shout outs to Christina, Ricey, and Shifzy for their incredible blueprint sets for making gift shops. I really couldn't do this stuff by myself. I did some of this stuff, like these little like tile works. I feel like that would be like local artists selling their stuff in here. But like all this beautiful, beautiful artwork in here, and like this architecture alone by Remnant is so awesome to have in here. But it's just really, really, really beautiful. So that is really it, my friends. Let me know what you guys have to say. Enjoy the rest of the cinematics. I'm just gonna look at this stuff from above. I don't know. This was a really solid zoo to put together. It's probably one of my favorites. It's not as big as like Boggy Bottom, and it's certainly bigger than Wildwoods, but I don't know, it's just so fun to see that like it's all done. Which, by the way, let's look at this rooftop air conditioner stuff. Oh my gosh, that makes me super happy I was able to do that. But man, it's over. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So I'm just gonna end it right now. We'll end it right here. Nice little parting shot. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If this is your first time watching this, go back and watch some of the speed builds. See how we put this zoo together and see how far we come with it. It's a really, really solid project. Really one of my favorites. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I'll continue this series sometime later down the line. There is room to kind of like push some more things. I don't even think we have too many Asian animals in here. So maybe that would be a fun little expansion in here. But I kind of like the fact that it's a small zoo. Regardless, though, I'm very excited to finish up some more projects with you guys so I could start on a big one. Thank you guys so much one last time. I really do appreciate your support over these past months. Hope you guys enjoyed the Grasslands Animal Pack. Hope you guys are enjoying the Tropical Animal Pack. Not even the Animal Pack, Tropical Pack. And I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Goodbye now.